You talk too much. Wait, why are you so quiet? I originally posted this as a comment to another thread, and someone suggested this might fit here. I used to work as one of 3 assistants for the engineering R&D department of a medical company. My desk was situated between the other 2 assistants, and we were all in the middle of a cube farm. It was problematic because everyone who had to go anywhere had to come by my desk. They would stop, say hello, and no matter how hard I tried, they'd start chatting. This of course impacted my work. After a certain point, my supervisor pulled me into an office and told me that I'm talking too much, that it's impacting my work, and to not talk so much with people. I asked her to give me a script for what to say to people, and she didn't have anything to offer. I was in counseling at the time and I asked my counselor the same question. She said to use the phrase, "I won't talk to you right now," and return to my work. I'm a bit of a people pleaser, and that's too abrupt for me. So I stopped talking to everyone. After about a week, once again my supervisor calls me into the office. She asked me what's wrong. I told her nothing was wrong. She said people are complaining that I'm being antisocial. I said, "You told me to stop talking to people, that I was talking too much, and it was impacting my work. So I did." She said, "I didn't mean it like that." Once again, I asked her to clarify exactly what I should and should not say, how much conversation was too much, and what to say when the conversation went on too long. Again, she had no response. She said, "Just don't talk too long." I returned to work. One of our lab techs was one of the chattiest, and one of the worst offenders. She came by my desk one day. We exchanged greetings, and she started chatting. I quietly told her that I had gotten in trouble for talking too much, and I needed to get back to work. She respected that, and walked away. I did that a few more times, and the point got made to the office. It didn't make my supervisor look particularly good because everyone knew when I said I was in trouble, what the source was, and when layoffs came sometime later. Guess who was the first to go? Don't get me wrong, it was a blessing in disguise. The severance was amazing. They paid for job placement training, gave us 9 months notice, and once our termination date came, they paid us out in regular paychecks, not in the lump sum. During that time, for me, almost 3 months, I accrued vacation and sick time the whole time. They cashed it all out at the end. The week after my severance package ran out, I found a job at another division of the same company and continued for another 11 years. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. It amazes me how people like that boss get a management position without at least being able to provide guidelines for what they want in the office. I was getting in trouble for talking. Even got a written warning for it. The thing is, at the time, I worked for Safeway collecting the trolleys, carts. My department manager asked me, "Why is it every time I look out the window you're talking?" It was in the rule book that we had to be polite to customers at all times. We were frequently told that we, in the car parking lot, were the face of the store and that we are the first and last faces the customer sees. Often, my talking was with customers whilst waiting for their trolley cart. Customers would ask a multitude of questions. Regular customers were like friends. If I ignored the customers, I would be rightly in trouble. Well, I did what I was told. I stopped talking to customers. Soon the complaints built up. She, the department manager, soon backed down, removed my written warning. Reminds me of back in high school. Next to each subject there was a space where teachers could put comments on how you could improve. Mine said that I was too quiet in class for a certain subject. I think there were 1 or 2 others that got that comment from that teacher as well. The rest of the class instead got a comment that they were too chatty in class. The entire class had a good laugh about that. Lost a promotion for not talking too much. My boss put me in for one, but the department head rejected it because he didn't know me. I asked her. It was because I don't stand in the hallway gabbing like a lot of people do. She said yes. Several months later, my boss became department head and I got my promotion. I started a new job that had an incredibly steep learning curve. I was like a sponge in our team meetings, trying to figure out how all of the pieces fit together. When I had my 6-month review, my manager pointed out that I wasn't saying enough in the meetings. Once I got to the summit of that learning curve and got a little expertise, I was happy to talk in our team meetings and express my opinion. By now you've probably figured out that I was chastised for over-participating. My manager moved on and eventually let go, but I lasted a couple of decades. I did make a point of asking my subsequent managers if I was under-participating, and point out that what my first manager had told me. By the way, I'm a software developer and I tend to take things a little more literally than most people. Typical manager in over their head point out an employee behavior. Tell them it has to change. But absolutely no constructive options for actually how to do that. Another reason unions exist. This happened to me in the early 90s in a social setting, a circle of friends I didn't see very often because I lived a few hours away by that point. One evening, at a gathering, one of the others laced into me for talking too much. I told him I'd quiet down if it suited him, and said not a word other than non-committal monosyllabic noises for 3 more hours. By the end of it, the rest of the group who had heard the original admonition were pissed at him. We only get to see BDPMBJ for a few hours every few months. God damn it. We see you every week. Sometimes you have to give someone what they ask for. The most improper job of any man, even saints, who at any rate were at least unwilling to take it on, is bossing other men. Not one in a million is fit for it, and least of all those who seek the opportunity. J.R.R. Tolkien. I'm ND and ADD, so lucky I also have think outside the box skills. You should have told her you're the wrong one to have the desk at the Nexus. You needed a desk to the side. The talking would have sorted itself out. Stop being so chatty. Stop not talking to people. How dare you tell people you got in trouble for talking too much? They're giving me the side eye now. I don't like you. Self-awareness. 0. I have a question. If someone comes to your desk, greets you, and you ignore them, how is that better and less rude than saying you can't talk to them? I really just want to understand. I have seen other people say they would do things I consider impolite because they are people pleasers and felt they can't deal with it another way. I don't think they are lying, and I know being a people pleaser isn't something you can turn off easily. So no judgment over that. But I can't wrap my head around it and figured I should better just ask. Stopwatch and notepad. That got put into a board with people's names on it. Once it reached a point, only responsive was talk to the bosses. Some weeks later, boss comes over, and response was talk to the boss, with them saying but I am the boss. System ended soon after. I had a similar situation like that happen when I worked for my local courthouse. I'm autistic, so I naturally end up observing those around me for the best way to behave in a given area. When I see nearly all of my coworkers standing around and talking for upwards of 30 minutes or more about topics other than work, of course that looks to be fine. Except then I talked to people who shared similar interests with me or fellow coworkers who knew my Family and their supervisors complained to mine about me distracting their employees. So I was told to let people do their work. Got it. Don't talk to anyone or else it is a distraction. Then I get told I am being a problem because people feel I am being antisocial or rude by not talking to anyone. So I should talk to people. But only a small greeting and then walk away. Okay. But what about when someone stops me and starts a conversation when I follow this instruction? Be rude and interrupt them or just walk away. So I talked to people again. And the cycle repeated several times. The last time it happened, someone from a different department stopped me to start a conversation, and one of my supervisors, who was nearby and heard everything, still said I was the problem because I was distracting the person from their work, that they stopped to talk to me. Shush. At the risk of being severely downvoted, I'm not sure I agree with this. OP states that the talking was having an impact on the work. It was also stated that the placement of the desk was one of the sources of the issue. Why not request moving the desk? Also, how hard is it to tell someone hey and that you're busy getting stuff done? Most people would be okay with that. Glad it eventually worked out for you. I had a boss, VP, who would constantly give me conflicting instructions, so she always had something to complain about. Why don't you ever come to my office? Quote, so I go to her office to check in more often, but she is never there. Why aren't you coming to my office? Quote, I am, but you're never there. Why aren't you in your office? Because I went to see you in your office. Leave me a note if you come to my office and I'm not there. I start leaving notes because she is still never there. Stop leaving notes in my office. Quote, I stopped playing this ridiculous game of hers and just stayed in my office and worked. She fired me. How do such people get to positions of power in the first place? Baffling. Op sounds ND. Being a people pleaser meant setting a boundary was too much hardship. So you just stopped talking altogether? That would upset people way more than, sorry I have work to do. It sounds like you shot yourself in the foot tbh. Legend has it that Op still isn't talking to this day. One of the best pieces of direction a boss ever gave me was, if you can talk and work, we can talk all we want. If you can't talk and work at the same time, we gotta stop talking. It was a clerk-type job, so relatively mindless, but it's a good way to regulate how much talking I do. And that is a lot of talking. I now have a job where most of my work involves talking, so that suits me pretty well. When I worked reception, but had another facet to my job that was strictly computer-based, my bosses gave me compliments on how welcome I made people feel in a stressful environment, while still wishing I'd produce more of the other work. Ya can't please everyone. Sigh. I can remember working in a call center, both dealing with customers and then later working the tech support desk for employees of the call center. In both roles you'd get pulled for having calls go on too long because of small talk. I too asked, okay, well, what should I say? I was told just ask, is there anything else I can help with? I replied, but you've listened to the calls and heard me do that. And some people just ignore it and keep talking. I left it with, please come back to me when I'm consistently not meeting my target for call handling time. Until then I'll do my best to shut people up in a nice way.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.